Interesting thing happened this week as a result of my message that I gave this past Sunday. Next on the Metal Pulpit. So this past Sunday was Easter Sunday, and as it goes with every church, it was a full house. And I decided to talk about the 7 C's of Christianity as it pertains to the Bible. There's creation, there's catastrophe, there's Christ, there's the culmination of everything, on and on. There's 7 different C's that I hit on. And as I talked about these things, I began to dive in a little bit about discipleship and the need to know our scripture a little better, as it would help enhance our life quite a bit. In my city that I live in, there was a astronomical amount of divorce going on, and it was really quite mind-blowing. It's a little city of 6,500, so everybody knows pretty much what's going on, and I called it out. I said, it comes from lack of scripture. Bible says people perish for the lack of wisdom, and I said, quite honestly, I feel there's a demonic oppression in our city that's attacking marriages. It was met with quite a few messages of people saying, whoa, that's pretty heavy, the demonic thing. And it got me thinking, why are we so afraid to address demonic issues as Christians? I think that's indicative of a bigger problem going on with Christianity and in churches, especially in churches. Let me talk to you about that as a pastor of a church. We get so wrapped up these days in programming. We get so wrapped up these days in worship, and really we've placed worship higher than the message, and that simply shouldn't be. We've placed worship higher than discipleship, and that shouldn't be. I mean, worship, I could care, it could be one person and a guitar. I'd be okay with that every week, but I love my worship band. But if that's what happens, then that's what happens. But why are we so afraid to talk about the heavier things? It's like worship and programming has eclipsed the main issues that churches need to talk about, and one of them is that there is a real Satan, there is a real hell, there is a real power at work here, and we need to talk about that. As a Christian, and I'm sure you are one, we ought not be afraid to address these topics. I mean, quite honestly, if there is a dozen or 15 divorces going on in a short amount of time, what else can you attribute that to? You're not going to attribute that to Christ, because Christ wouldn't do that. You attribute it to the enemy. And when the enemy's at work in people, it's demonic. And so there is a demonic oppression. And when we get to the point where we are willing to call it out for what it is, instead of, they're not communicating very well, they're not doing this very well, they're just struggling. No, they're being deceived by the enemy. And we need to do something about it. That's when change starts to happen. Programs are great, okay? What kid doesn't like a good kids program or a youth program or something like that? But as adults, we need to quit focusing as churches so much on how good the worship is, how fine-tuned it is, and how awesome our camera gear is so that we can go live. I use an iPhone. It's just, and that seems to be plenty. And get to the heart of the matter of what really changes people, and that is addressing these issues and realizing that there are powers and principalities all around us making war, and we need to pray through it. We need to be educated. I just ordered this Bible the other day. It's the first Bible I bought in probably 15 years, big old wraparound thing. But what's cool about it is it's a journaling Bible, and so you can literally make notes, and I'm taking myself on a journey over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it takes, and reading through it and just journaling and in efforts to enhance my messages that I deliver. And it really goes down to studying to show yourself approved, that, instead of saying, well, I don't know why that's happening, I'm not sure why that's happening. It's because you know what's happening. You're studying the word, you can see it, you're seeing it play out in someone else's life, and then as Christians we know how to address it. So the supernatural, the spiritual, all of that stuff, as Christians, we need to not be afraid to address such things and explore such things. because quite honestly, when you start exploring that stuff, it's going to blow your mind because it's real. And these are things that need to be talked about. Shoot me your thoughts, pastorbobadams@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to address them here on the Metal Pulpit, or I'll email you back. Have a great day.